Welcome back to season 3 of The Daily Show. Thank you so much for joining us, and thank you if you've watched any of the episodes in the past. It's been a great couple of years, and I really appreciate everyone sending over their who they want us to book on to guests, and also commenting and liking on the posts themselves. The engagement you give and the comments that you make really do inform the show. Thank you for making it a better show for that. This week we have a real treat to kick off the year. Rik Courtney, fantastic at training people with regards to social. He's the CEO of the Be More Group. They do a ton of good stuff to look out for. Also, as you hear on the show, they've literally just released a new training on demand academy, which you can use to at your own time, at your own devices, when you're free, to learn about social, and built out a real simple 4-step program to help you get there. So check out the show. Tons of value in there, tons of ways. If you're looking to get into social and start actually seeing some results and seeing some leads, this is the show for you. I'll see you on the next episode of The Daily Show. God damn, it's good to be back. Ooh, we are live! That's right. Welcome to the happiest of New Year's. We are dragging ourselves, kicking and screaming out of a pandemic and running hard and deep into the year 2022. I want to thank everyone for the last 2 wonderful seasons of The Daily Show, because today is the kickoff of season 3. That's right. It's been 3 glorious years of sitting down with the best and the brightest that I can find, who will give me some of their time. So we've had loads of requests for new guests to come in, and I've got some great people set up for the next 3 or 4 months, but keep them coming in. If I can fit in time, we'll have them on the show, and heaven forbid, if they actually want to be part of it, then we'll see what we can do. One of those wonderful people we have today. No, you're shouting. It's not another Just Jay show where he's left holding his proverbial self on his own and going solo down in Acapulco. No. A guest has shown up this time to help me not just rant about shite, but actually talk about something informative to help you out. And as we're rocking into the new year, I know that there is a bunch of people out there who are saying, okay, this is me. This is the year that I'm going to get involved on social. I am going to be more, right? I'm going to add this into what I'm trying to do. It's not a fad. Facebook is here to stay. LinkedIn might be a useful platform. Well, for those out of you there, you're going to love this show, because I have the wonderful, the famous, the fantastic, the great and powerful. That's right. Mr. Rik Courtney is joining us today.
I've never had such a welcome, honestly. Thank you very much.
No, so before the show started, me and Rik were talking about some of our favorite podcasters, and we're both a Joe Rogan fans. So Please, everyone, don't take the mick out of me. I know I'm stealing his great and powerful thing, but that's because Rik gets it, okay?
I get it.
Right there, buddy. Right there, the podcast in love. So, Rik, for the kids out there who don't know who you are, tell them about your good self.
My name's Rik. I've been about for 46 years, long time on this planet. And I have been in marketing for probably half of that time and love it. I love the fact that you could create words and use colors and imagery to affect change in people's buying need or desire. And I got into it for that reason. And then as soon as social and the internet got involved, I got really excited and started to go deep in on it, as you put it, how you put it earlier, and really start to, I think, master it and try and use it to my own gain.
I love that. Right. That's going to be really interesting for us, because it's very rare that we get a chance to talk to traditional marketers, people who have understood the traditional marketing enough to actually then lean into social and use those skills. And one of the things I find a ton is, if you understand, and I'm saying traditional marketing because we're online right now and doing a live stream, okay? I call it marketing outside of this room. But those traditional tactics, a lot of the time feel that what is actually missing from the new generation of social media execs. And for me, the biggest problem I've seen is that businesses were like, oh, we better do social. Right, 20 grand a year, let's get someone in as a social media exec.
Yeah.
And if you've ever read some of those job descriptions, you were like, wow, that's a 60K a year job, because that is a marketing manager, marketing exec, PR person, sales admin.
Tell me about it, honestly. And they get it so wrong, and they pick the youngest person because, they've grown up with it. And it's not the case. You got to take a step back from the internet, the ones and zeros and lines and strips of code, and start thinking about community, connection, people, human interaction, and then you're not far off of getting social right.
Mm. And that is all just intrinsic in like the, again, traditionals, I'm going to call it for this call, just we've got some sort of separation between church and state, but like non-social marketing, this is the first thing you'd sit down and think about. Like, if we're trying to achieve this and here's this campaign, what is this campaign about? What is the look and the feel of it? Whereas social feels to be like the message is almost reactive. Too many people are busy just posting because they got to post and post and post, but there's not actually like the message,
We say here, post with purpose or don't post at all. End of, because there's algorithms grading you. They're marking you. They're marking your paper, the score. There's a qualification at the end of every post. And if you fail that qualification, unfortunately, tomorrow, your algorithm score is gone.
Right. So how do you find that purpose then?
You got to understand what or how valuable you are to the end user. Nobody cares about great service or value or even price. I don't think price is irrelevant. How valuable and how I leave you feeling is what's key. What we find is that this is really old terminology, but a freemium model really works. Value, this value proposition that you're delivering here, you're helping, you're assisting, you're educating people, and they're going to watch and take something from it. They might do something for a short period of time and then fall off on that commitment, where you and I can pick that slack up and become business partners almost. But we have sold through education.
Yeah.
I am a leader. My hope is in my field, as you are, and I've worked really, really hard over this last 14 years in social to put myself out there and prove it.
And the amazing thing is that I think is the real benefit versus, because that's what we were trying to do previously with marketing, right? With flyers and exhibitions and bus ads and radio, right? We were trying to do the same thing of kind of, get ourselves out in front of people. The thing I like about social, and I liken it to movie actors versus theater actors.
Yeah.
Right? A movie actor gets to do their performance and then like 8 months down the line gets to, maybe he wins an Oscar or like the movie does well. Whereas a theater actor, night on night on night, gets to hear people get bored when he says it this way or when she says it this way, right? When she's too much at this part, or he is giving things out, or they're trying to do an extra kind of something, it just lands flat on their face. They get to see that reaction immediately from the audience.
Yeah,
and
amazing analogy.
And as scary as that must be, I bet you get better by the third matinee, right?
Absolutely. Listen, we deliver workshops and webinars all the time. And when I first started, I'm thinking, I need new material. I need new jokes. I need new information. So I used to do more and more research, but there's only so much you could do. For me, it's about honing that craft and being able to deliver it for me in the most layman term possible, so that people do get it, because they're scared of it. And I don't know why, but it's easy for you and I to think, well, it's easy. Why don't you get it?
Stuff, right? It's just easy. Just comment and engage. It's easy.
All I know is that the understanding social and good marketing and being able to identify my value proposition has now changed my life. Literally changed my life.
And in what ways?
Well, in a way that I employ 17 people. 14 years ago, without social, I couldn't, because I was a poor networker. I was skint. I didn't have a pot at all. I didn't come up in a privileged background whatsoever. I didn't have £1,800 for a full page ad. I didn't have money for leaflets or anything like that. But I had a brain. I could strategize a way. I knew how to put a headline together and imagery together and look the part. But I couldn't fulfill on leaflets, business cards, radio ads at all.
Yeah, and that's literally what you needed to do to differentiate yourself. Or the alternative was sales, right? You couldn't really market yourself out of a hole, if you know what I mean. You had to have marketing and then 20 feet of shite and then the salespeople over there doing the sales job. Whereas, there was nothing free, if you know what I mean.
It cost me 50 quid a week and a bacon sandwich as well. I didn't have it. Seriously.
You got to get up at 6:30 in the morning and go and talk to the same 8 people. One's a plumber.
We look really confident on this camera right now, and people will say, yeah, it comes so easy to you. I do not know how to start a conversation. There's a circle of 4 or 5 people. They're all having a conversation, and I'm like, wait, like a skip rope waiting to go in. Is it now? Should I go? Oh no, forget it. And I don't end up engaging in the meeting at all. It doesn't happen.
I used to get so scared at like because I was always in sales, right? So I made 1,000 phone calls. You're meant to be super confident, not worried about people. And I
Mm,
also used to be a musician. So a great load of people, no problem with, right? I can talk to a great big load of people because it just can blurs into nothing. And I know how to look just above people's heads and not freak out too much with the eyes.
mhm.
But like you say, little group, 4, 5, 6 people that I don't know.
Yeah. And,
um,
and they're cliquey. They do business with each other and only with each other. You know, I eventually got in there because I showed up an awful lot, and I think they've probably felt sorry for me. Like, come on, Rik's here. He's been waiting to talk for 3 months. Let's get him into our. And eventually I did some business. And then I thought, well, I've done business with this networking group now. Maybe I need to try another one, save a few quid here, stop that. And all of a sudden, customer attrition happened because I turned my back on the group and I'd gone somewhere else. They're like, oh, no, we need another social media expert in this group now. Rik, you're done. And you're like, oh my God, can't do it.
So, and which is obviously a model that we both use in social to go and, become a not big fish in a small pond, but for me,
Mm,
it's just being a fish in lots of ponds, right? I don't need to be the big fish in any way. But
yeah.
if I can, much like that networking group, a BNI, a business over breakfast, whatever, right? If that's the business over breakfast and there's 12 people there and you have now, introduced yourself, put your brand out to those 12 people, you now
Mhm.
go and talk to another 12 people. And I think
Yeah.
one of the wonderful things is on social is that you can do that kind of exponentially
Yeah.
to places, or, it doesn't have to be geolocation. There's
Yeah.
only so many networking events that Jay can physically get to and be like likable. Because if I've done 11 in a day, that 11th one, I'm going to be a dickhead.
Listen, you're tired, are you? Listen, it's funny you say that. You know, like it's not geolocated. I to the back end of the year, I get bored really easy. I'm sure I've got some kind of ADHD or something like that that's completely undiagnosed because I'm like, oh, what can I do now? I know how to do that. I've done this, I've done that, I've done the other. Why don't I do business in America, South Africa? I tried doing business in Barbados just for a laugh. Do you
Mhm.
know what? We got customers in every single one of those environments. Free networking events in Barbados. Guess what? There is.
Yeah, nice.
It's crazy, but it's all because of this internet stuff.
Yeah, and it's findable. And look, same thing when we started. Tony and I, my business partner, it was just me and him staring at each other across a podcast table because we'd had a podcast and we were like, "Yeah, we should like sell this, bruv." So then it's us two. I came from sales, right? So what are the first thing I did? And we're talking 7+ years ago now, right?
Mm.
First thing I did was spend money. We did not have. I remember it's still the most expensive bill for me, even though it's not that much money anymore. But I remember it being like 580 quid to
Yeah.
buy data of businesses within X distance from our offices, right?
Yeah.
And I made the mistake of not putting a cap on like the size of the business.
Yeah.
So, and 70% of all of the numbers I had were like for 3 or 4 companies, which were huge, like a Booper or like a
Yeah.
HQ office of some ridiculously big corporate where I'm like, cool. And then the amazing,
Gatekeepers, no
yeah,
chance.
right, exactly, yeah, all the pubs.
Yeah.
But the amazing thing is that we never used that data. It was a
Mm.
waste of money because suddenly I started finding business in the US from Facebook.
Yeah.
And I had no idea that what I was doing was social selling. None.
Yeah.
I had no idea. I was like, well, go on all the podcast groups and speak to everyone because they
Mhm.
like podcasts and we sell podcasts. So let's,
You say something really interesting. Go on the podcast groups and speak to people. People still assume that they can't do that. I'm going to go into a group, I'm going to put some content in there and stick my finger in the end, hope that it works, rather
yeah.
than engage, rather than
Mm.
spark up a conversation. That's the thing that works.
It is. We've got a new sales guy starting for us who hasn't been in the industry. First thing I'm saying to him, great, here are some hashtags and you go and research them yourself. And then every day, go on that hashtag.
Mhm.
And obviously, salesperson, first question he's like, cool, what do you want me to sell him? I'm like, oh, wait for it. Nothing. I
Yeah.
want you to learn. I want you to go onto that hashtag and I want you to get part of conversations. And if you don't understand something, I want you to say, I don't understand that. Can you
Mhm.
explain it? And let that person explain it to you. I want you to utilize the knowledge of crowds by
Mhm.
looking through a post and being like, so consistency didn't half come up a lot. I wonder if
Nice.
that's a thing that I should talk about, right?
Yeah.
And it's
It's
but
like,
it's a real like people don't like especially salespeople. They're like, "What? You want me
yeah,
to like?" And I'm like, "Yeah, because then you're gonna have within 2 weeks, you're gonna have literal anecdotes, real life examples of being like, funny you said that, Rick. Just last week, I saw someone talking about consistency on, and you're there, right?
yeah, 100%, 100%. And like even my guys here as well, like because they come from a traditional background, they're still on the phones for at least half the day. Oh, I still think this works. It's a comfort zone thing, isn't it? I think
Yep.
that's what it is.
And that's where I came from. I was a
Mm,
smile you dial 250 phone calls before breakfast guy. You know what I mean?
yeah,
And then after, especially by when we started, and I was selling this podcasting to the US because they were just a little bit further along in their understanding. Like when
mm,
we started, BBC Sounds wasn't around. You had to
mm,
explain what a podcast was by saying like internet radio, and people were like,
yeah,
I'm like, I know, but it's good. I don't know how to
yeah.
explain it. Right?
It's
People
funny.
didn't.
Sorry.
No. But people didn't even know how to like listen to them.
No, and it's funny for how long podcasts have been around for. And the last 18 months, everybody's doing them. Everybody thinks that they're sort of great at them as well. But podcasts have been around since before Twitter. Twitter started off
Mhm.
as Audio, I think it was, which
Mhm.
was a podcasting hosting service. And it's just
Which is like the
crazy.
genesis of social, right? You know what I mean?
Like,
Twitter, like, it's incredible. Well, and Rogan's a great example. How long's he been posted podcasting for now?
oh,
10,
10 years. Yeah, it's got
15
to
years, you know what I mean? Like, somewhere between there. But
yeah,
people have only heard of that podcaster
yeah.
in the last 2 years when he did the big deal and moved over to Spotify, right? Great
Just
move by
just
Spotify.
£100 million deal is
I guess
all.
podcasting's here to stay then. I don't know.